Now it's time for the next step, data collection. As you watch this video, I want you to keep one word at the top of your mind, and that's representative. That word drives almost every good and bad decision regarding data collection. The first question is representative of whom? Or more precisely, what is your population of interest? If you remember back to step one of our process, a well-written SLO gives us direction. Let's use our example from the BA in Comic Collectibles. Their SLOs start with students graduating from the BA in Collectibles program. That phrase tells us a lot. It signals that we're trying to collect data from students near graduation, typically in the final year, or even better yet, in the final semester. So data collection isn't just willy-nilly grab any student you can. It should be intentional and aligned with the SLO. Next question, are you going to collect data from all students, a census, or are we going to use a sample? Remember, representative. If you collect data from all students, then by definition, you captured the population of interest. Sampling, especially for large programs, can work too, but be very careful. When I talk to people about sampling, usually the first questions they ask have to do with sample size. It does matter, but it is not the most important issue. Let me give you an example. Imagine there's a very large program that graduates about 500 students per year. They collect data from 100 students, but only the students who are in the honors section. Yes, that sample is large, but it is very biased. You've introduced tremendous systematic error. In that scenario, I'd much rather have data from 50 students that are drawn randomly from that population of 500. Of course, an even larger random sample would be even better because it reduces random error. The same problem comes up with convenience samples as well. It's a good chance that students who volunteer to do things are different in important ways than students who do not volunteer. So be very cautious with volunteer samples. Again, think representative. Next question, where are we going to collect data? There are two common approaches, course embedded and special testing outside of the classroom. Course embedded assessment is the most common and often the most efficient. For example, imagine all students take a capstone course. In that course, students complete assignments or exams that count toward the course grade and directly map onto program level SLOs. That's data that's doing double duty. Some programs aren't structured that neatly. In those cases, students might come in during specific testing windows to complete program level assessments. That works too. But representation isn't just about who shows up. It's also about how much effort students give. Imagine students attend a testing session, don't think it matters, write their name, fill in bubbles randomly, or rush through a performance task. You might have a representative group of students, but unrepresentative effort. That is a serious problem. One advantage of course-embedded assessment is motivation. When assessments affect grades, students are more likely to give an effort that's representative of their abilities. In low-stakes testing, programs have to work harder to communicate why the assessment matters. I've dropped resources about low-stakes testing in the description box below if you want to dig in deeper. One more critical issue in data collection, setting standards. Ideally, standards should be set before data are collected. Here's why. Too often, people get their results and then ask, so what does this mean? Preset standards makes interpretation much easier. Here are 4 common ways to set a standard. First, disciplinary standards. Some disciplines like healthcare or K-12 education are highly regulated. External bodies may define passing scores or performance expectations. If those exist, they often guide assessment decisions. Most disciplines don't have external standards. In those cases, standards are set locally. There's an entire subfield of measurement focused just on this area. For a multiple choice test, it often involves estimating the score of a minimally proficient student. Rubrics can make standards especially clear. For example, if a rubric has levels like beginning, developing, good, and excellent, a program might decide that good is expected value for graduating students. In other words, if a rubric is chosen or built intentionally, that a level proficiency in the behavioral descriptions can help set the standard. It's kind of like the standard is baked in. And last, we have past results. Standards can be based on past student performance. For example, imagine that students in the past have averaged about 76% correct on a multiple choice test. The faculty get together and they're not happy about it. So maybe they raise the standard to be 80% or 85%, whatever they choose. Of course, the decision to raise a standard relative to past performance implies that the program faculty are going to have to change some curriculum and pedagogy to help those future cohorts perform better. So let's fast forward. We've defined the population, collected representative data, ensured representative effort, and set standards in advance. The next step is results and interpretation. And if you wanted to find out more about these areas, check out this video. Thanks so much for watching, my friends, and I hope to see you around real soon.